Welcome, spicy ladies. What do you do with a woman who doesn't need the world to hand her anything, but takes what she knows she's earned? That's where the fear begins. The ambitious Sigma female is not loud. She's not waiting for a trend or movement to carry her forward. She creates her own path in silence and walks it with certainty. She doesn't just dream big. She builds in the shadows and shows up with results that leave people speechless. Her presence isn't theatrical. It's steady, it's grounded, and it forces people to confront what they're avoiding in themselves. Society has always been more comfortable with women who play small, who stay polite, who wait their turn. The Sigma female doesn't do that. She's not wired for delay. She learns, she adapts, she moves, and when she's overlooked or underestimated, she doesn't fall apart. She focuses harder. People fear her not because she's aggressive or loud, but because she's clear, because she's not easy to manipulate, because her worth isn't up for negotiation. That kind of clarity makes people nervous. But if you see yourself in her, here's your reminder. You're not too much. You're not hard to understand. You're simply ahead of your time. Keep going. You don't need a crowd. You just need your focus, your values, and your fire. Let the world catch up. And when it does, you won't need to say a word. Your results will speak for you. Let's get started, spicy ladies. Number 1, she doesn't beg for justice. She enforces her own. You won't find her crying out for fairness when things go wrong. She doesn't sit around waiting for someone to come fix what got broken. When life deals her a bad hand, she doesn't freeze. She doesn't fall apart in front of an audience, hoping for sympathy. Instead, she steps back, gets quiet, and starts working in silence. Not for revenge, not for attention, but because she knows exactly who she is and what she's capable of. She doesn't beg for justice, she enforces her own. Let's say she gets overlooked for a promotion at work. She doesn't start gossiping or trying to win people over. She observes. She sees how the game is played. Then she uses that knowledge to build something of her own. Maybe she starts a business on the side. Maybe she sharpens her skills quietly. Either way, she doesn't fold. She reinvents herself and moves forward so powerfully, it leaves everyone wondering how they missed her value in the first place. People often mistake her silence for defeat. That's where they get it wrong. She doesn't need to announce what she's about to do. She just does it. She transforms quietly. She lets her growth do the talking. And when she returns to the table, she's 10 times better than before. That's when it hits them. They didn't just lose her, they created someone even harder to reach. She holds herself accountable. She doesn't expect the world to be fair. She knows how to absorb pain and turn it into fuel. That's why society fears her. Not because she's loud or confrontational, but because she rises without their permission and wins without their help. So, if you've ever been underestimated or pushed aside, remember this. You don't need to scream to be powerful. Just be the woman who keeps growing no matter what they do. Keep moving. Make your silence louder than their doubt. Let your win speak for you. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Number 2, she reflects back people's unfulfilled potential. There's something about her that makes people uneasy, and most can't even explain why. It's not that she's done anything wrong. In fact, she rarely says much about herself, but just by being who she is, she ends up holding up a mirror that shows people everything they've avoided facing in their own lives. She reflects back people's unfulfilled potential. Let's say she's in a workplace meeting. She shares an idea that's sharp, original, and clearly well thought out. You'd think people would be impressed. Instead, some roll their eyes. Others try to poke holes in it, not because her idea is bad, but because her clarity exposes their laziness. Her presence puts pressure on the room without her having to apply any. Suddenly, people feel the weight of their own shortcuts and half-hearted efforts. That's not her fault, but they treat her like it is. Or maybe she's just quietly building something in her own life. A small business, a fitness goal, a book she's writing. She talks about it casually and moves on, but someone listening starts feeling small. Not because she bragged, but because they've been sitting on dreams they never had the courage to chase. Instead of using her as motivation, they look for ways to make her the problem. People say she's intimidating, cold, too focused. They use those words because they're easier to say than "she makes me question the way I've been living." That's what really bothers them. Her drive makes excuses feel weaker. Her growth highlights their comfort zone. So what do? They start picking at her character. They question her choices. They gossip. It's never really about her. It's about the way she makes them feel about themselves. But she knows this. She's seen it too many times. And still, she keeps going because she didn't come to make people comfortable. She came to become everything they told her she couldn't. Number 3, she rewrites feminine power without asking permission. She doesn't wait for the world to tell her it's okay to be strong. She doesn't need permission slips from trends or social media to show up fully as herself. While most people are waiting for a green light, she's already halfway through the path she carved on her own. That's what makes her different. She rewrites what it means to be powerful as a woman, and she does it without making announcements. She rewrites feminine power without asking permission. You'll see it in the way she leads her life. Maybe she's raising kids while building a business. Maybe she's managing a quiet career that pays the bills, but still takes time to master a skill no one even knows she has. She doesn't need a hashtag or movement to tell her that makes her strong. She already knows. Or maybe she's the type who walks away from something that no longer serves her. A relationship, a job, a friendship that drains more than it gives. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. Society tells women to hold on, to fix things, to keep everyone comfortable. But she knows that peace is also power. And choosing herself is not selfish. It is necessary. She doesn't fit into any box. One day she's soft and nurturing. The next she's setting boundaries with no hesitation. That confuses people who think strength has to look one way. She proves it doesn't. Her version of power is quiet but unshakable. It's the way she holds herself together when things fall apart. The way she keeps building even when no one's watching. She doesn't follow a script. She writes her own, and sometimes that makes people uncomfortable. Not because she's doing anything wrong, but because she's doing everything right on her own terms. She isn't the future of feminine power. She's the blueprint that was already here. Number 4, she doesn't chase power, she becomes it. And that simple truth shakes people more than anything she could ever say or do. In most spaces, especially those run by status and hierarchy, people are expected to compete, show up loud, prove their worth. But she's not playing that game. She doesn't need titles to move with authority. She doesn't need to be the center of attention to be the one people quietly follow. She walks in purpose, not in performance. Picture this. She joins a new project team. No one really knows her yet. She doesn't talk over people or force her ideas into the room. But within days, others start turning to her for clarity. She asks the questions no one else thinks to ask. She finds the patterns others miss. She doesn't command attention. She earns respect just by being solid. Suddenly, the ones who usually run the show feel their grip slipping, and they don't know why. Traditional structures can't read her. She doesn't flatter the right people or make herself smaller to fit in. She doesn't chase promotions or titles, but she shows up so consistently, so intentionally that people start adjusting around her without even realizing it. In male-dominated spaces, especially, she becomes a kind of disruption. Not the loud kind, the unshakable kind. The kind that makes people uncomfortable because she doesn't need their approval. And she's not looking to compete. She just is. And in her presence, power doesn't look like dominance. It looks like discipline, patience, and sharp thinking. She redefines what power even means. Not control, not popularity, but self-command, clarity, depth. That's rare. And rare things unsettle systems that depend on predictability. She doesn't enter spaces looking for permission to lead. She becomes the force that makes others reevaluate the entire structure. Number 5. Her ambition is not chaotic, it's surgical. She doesn't wake up each day chasing random goals or throwing herself into 100 directions hoping one thing works. Her time is planned. Her energy is protected. Her choices are made with focus, so sharp it unsettles people who confuse movement with progress. She's not hustling blindly. She's not busy just to look productive. Everything she does has a reason behind it. If she's quiet, she's learning. If she's distant, she's building. If she walks away from something, it's because it no longer aligns with the version of her she's becoming. Nothing is accidental. Picture someone scrolling all day through self-help tips, business advice, and motivation videos. They're pumped up, full of ideas, but still unsure where to start. Now, place that next to her. She's already 10 steps deep into a plan she made 6 months ago. She didn't wait for motivation. She designed her own momentum. That contrast can feel intimidating. People who rely on luck don't know what to make of someone who builds her life on clarity. People who rely on applause don't understand someone who's moving without needing to be seen. Her progress is quiet, but it's sharp, measured, intentional. When she moves with the calm of someone who's done the work in private. She's not reacting to pressure. She's following her strategy. And that's what people don't get. She makes it look too smooth, too clear. But that's the result of long nights, honest self-checks, and cutting off everything that doesn't serve her direction. Her ambition isn't wild or loud. It's deliberate. Like a skilled surgeon, she cuts through distractions, doubts, and delays with steady hands. And that's exactly what rattles people, because when someone has that level of clarity, they can't be stopped, only studied. Number 6, she doesn't want to be followed. She wants to be left alone. Not because she's cold, not because she thinks she's better than anyone, but because solitude is where she thinks clearly, works deeply, and becomes dangerous in the best way. She doesn't crave an audience. She craves peace. And in a world that constantly rewards noise, she chooses quiet, not to hide, but to sharpen herself in silence. This is exactly what makes people nervous. Most are used to chasing attention. They measure their worth by how many people are watching, liking, clapping. But she doesn't care for any of that. She would rather go unnoticed and unstoppable than popular and stuck. She's not trying to build a fan base. She's trying to build a life on her own terms. So, when she turns down invitations, stays off the radar, or walks away from circles that don't serve her growth, people take it personally. They confuse her distance for arrogance, when really it's just her protecting her energy. Society doesn't know what to do with a woman who doesn't want the spotlight, who doesn't need constant validation, who would rather be underestimated while she builds quietly than be celebrated too early for something she hasn't finished. And so the fear begins. They start to question her, criticize her, try to label her as difficult or emotionless. But it's not about her character. It's about control. Because when a woman stops needing to be seen, she becomes hard to predict, hard to manage, hard to own. She's not interested in being followed. She's interested in being free. That freedom is her fuel. And that independence is exactly what makes her unstoppable. So they try to break her early before she gets too powerful, before her silence becomes louder than their noise. But by then, it's already too late. She's already built the life they said was impossible, alone, focused, unbothered. Number 7, she exposes the illusion of control. Not by shouting, not by rebelling loudly, but by simply living in a way that proves she doesn't need anyone's permission to rise. She doesn't follow the blueprint laid out by people in power. She doesn't chase positions. She doesn't ask for access. She creates her own lane and moves through it with clarity. That alone is enough to shake entire systems. People in power are used to others needing them, needing validation, needing the green light, needing the title. But when she walks in and operates with full confidence without checking for approval, they don't know how to handle it. She makes their status feel fragile. Not because she's trying to, but because she reminds them that true power can't be given. It has to be claimed from within. Think about it. In school, at work, even in families, there's always someone who wants to be in charge. Someone who expects to be listened to just because of a title or a role. Most people play along. They fall in line, but she doesn't. She'll listen if there's value, but she won't obey blindly. And when she chooses her own standard over theirs, it's like pulling the curtain back on their authority. Suddenly, they're not in control. They're exposed. She doesn't fight the system. She simply outgrows it. And that's the threat. She plays a different game where the rules don't apply. The titles don't impress, and fear tactics don't work. She makes power look effortless. Not because it's easy, but because she earned it from the inside out. They fear her because they can't predict her. They can't silence her. They can't stop her. She doesn't play for their approval. She plays to build, to grow, to lead on her own terms. And in a world obsessed with control, that kind of freedom is terrifying. Number 8. Her ambition is internal, not performance-based. She's not trying to prove anything to anyone. She doesn't collect trophies just to put them on display. Her drive comes from something deeper, something personal. It's not about applause or approval. It's about becoming who she knows she's meant to be with, or without an audience. While most people are caught in a loop of doing things to be noticed, she's busy doing things that actually matter to her. She doesn't care about how her success looks to others. She cares about whether it feels right to her. That's what makes her dangerous in a world built on appearances. Think about the workplace, for example. People often scramble to climb corporate ladders, hoping someone will notice their effort. She, on the other hand, doesn't waste time begging to be seen. If the ladder feels shaky or pointless, she walks away and builds something stronger on her own. Maybe that means creating a business. Maybe it means moving in a completely different direction. Either way, she's not there to be ranked. She's there to build a life she respects. Systems that rely on validation hate women like her because they can't manipulate her with praise. They can't scare her with silence. When everyone else is adjusting their image for likes, promotions, or approval, she's adjusting her habits, her mindset, and her goals privately. That kind of self-contained ambition can't be bought, controlled, or swayed. It disrupts environments that thrive on competition and comparison. People can't figure out what she's chasing. And that's the unsettling part. She's not chasing, she's creating. And when your fire burns from the inside, no one can dim it because no one gave it to you in the first place. Number 9. She doesn't play the gender obedience game. There's still an unspoken script handed to women. Be pleasant. Be soft. Don't push too hard. Don't take up too much space. Smile more. Apologize when you're confident. Step back so someone else can lead. Society wraps these expectations in polite words and calls it feminine, but she sees it for what it is. Control disguised as kindness, and she refuses to play along. The ambitious Sigma female doesn't raise her hand and wait to be picked. She doesn't say yes just to keep the peace. She doesn't water herself down to make others comfortable. If she disagrees, she says so. If she sees a better way, she takes it, even if it's unpopular. That bold clarity can come off as harsh to people who are used to women softening every edge to avoid criticism. She's not rude. She's precise. And that precision throws people off, especially in spaces where women are expected to take on the emotional labor, carry the weight of everyone's comfort, and still smile through it all. She doesn't play by those rules. If a conversation wastes her time, she'll step out of it. If a relationship drains her, she'll walk away. Not loudly, not bitterly, just decisively. She dismantles expectations not with noise, but with presence. By existing fully in her ambition, by making herself the priority without guilt, by showing that being a woman doesn't mean being available for everyone else's comfort, she challenges the old setup. That's why she's called difficult or cold. Because society hasn't figured out how to label a woman who answers only to her own standard. But she's not here to make the old systems comfortable. She's here to build a new one quietly, powerfully, and unapologetically on her terms. Number 10. She can't be bought or seduced by praise. Flattery might work on most people. A few compliments here, some recognition there, and suddenly you've got them hooked. They start performing for approval, adjusting their behavior just to stay in your good graces. But the ambitious Sigma female doesn't move like that. Praise doesn't inflate her. Silence doesn't deflate her. She already knows who she is, and that makes her immune to manipulation. Powerful people often use compliments as currency. They know most folks will do just about anything to be noticed, so they dangle kind words like bait, pulling strings behind smiles. But when they try that with her, it falls flat. She doesn't light up when praised. She listens. She notices the timing, the intention, and if it smells like control in disguise, she walks right past it like it never happened. Imagine someone in a leadership role trying to win her over with charm. "You're so smart," they say. "You're exactly what we need." She nods, says, "Thank you," and goes right back to doing what she was already doing. No emotional hook, no change in behavior, just clarity. That kind of groundedness terrifies manipulators. They can't figure out what she wants from them. That's because she doesn't want anything from them. She's not chasing approval. She's chasing growth. And praise doesn't build her. It doesn't buy her loyalty. It doesn't steer her decisions. She doesn't crave recognition. She craves impact. She doesn't perform for applause. She works in silence and lets the results speak. And when she does get praised, she accepts it with grace, but never allows it to cloud her judgment. That level of emotional independence is a threat to anyone who's used to pulling strings. Because when praise has no power over you, neither do the people who use it to control. Number 11. She's proof that resilience doesn't need applause. She's not the one telling the world how much she's been through. She doesn't post her pain for attention or speak about her struggles to win sympathy. While others might share every chapter of their hardship, hoping someone will say, "You're so strong," she keeps hers tucked away, not out of shame, but out of strength. Her healing is sacred. Her transformation is quiet. And that's exactly what makes it powerful. Sigma females don't wear their past like a badge. They carry it like a compass. They don't replay their pain to be seen. They study it. They learn from it. They use it to sharpen their instincts and build a foundation that no one can shake. While the world celebrates loud comebacks, she's already 5 steps ahead, not looking back. Picture a woman who went through something life-changing, maybe betrayal, loss, failure. She doesn't talk about it. She doesn't need to. You just start noticing she's different. Her choices are cleaner. Her standards are higher. Her circle is smaller. She doesn't explain the shift. She embodies it. People who once felt sorry for her start realizing she no longer needs their sympathy. In fact, she never did. She never stopped to be pitied. She stopped to rebuild, and now she's thriving in ways they can't even understand. She doesn't demand recognition for surviving. She turns survival into mastery. She walks into new seasons with grace, not bitterness. And while others look for applause after the storm, she looks for growth. She doesn't want to be known for what she went through. She wants to be known for what she built from it. That's what makes her rare. She doesn't need the world to clap for her pain. She already turned it into power. Number 12. She operates on principles, not trends. While the world is constantly chasing what's hot, what's viral, what's trending this week, she's anchored in something much deeper. Her decisions aren't based on what gets applause. They're based on what aligns with her values. And in a society that thrives on groupthink and fast shifts, that kind of steadiness is seen as a threat. Everyone else is switching lanes trying to stay relevant. One moment it's hustle culture, the next it's soft life. People are scrambling to belong somewhere, to be part of something, but she's not running in circles trying to keep up. She's not bending herself to fit into labels or lifestyles that don't sit right with her. She'd rather walk alone with clarity than follow the crowd blindly. Picture this: a workplace suddenly obsessed with toxic productivity. Everyone's working late, burning out, bragging about being busy. She's still getting her work done, but she's not buying into the chaos. She sets her boundaries. She leaves on time. She delivers results without the drama. And people notice, not because she's loud, but because she's consistent. The truth is, society likes people who follow the script. When someone chooses a different rhythm, it disrupts the pattern. It forces others to question why they're following trends that don't even serve them. That kind of self-guided strength is rare. And what's rare is often misunderstood. She's not trying to be admired. She's trying to live right by her own standards. Her loyalty is not to popularity, it's to integrity. And that's what makes her powerful. She doesn't need culture to confirm her direction. She moves with inner conviction even when it's not popular. While the world jumps from one wave to the next, she stays grounded, unshaken, focused. Not because she wants to be different, but because she refuses to be anyone but herself. So here's the question. What happens when a woman no longer asks for space, but simply takes it not with noise, but with quiet certainty? That's the ambitious Sigma female. She doesn't try to fit into roles that were never built with her in mind. She redefines what strength looks like, not for approval, but because she refuses to shrink for anyone's comfort. And that kind of power doesn't come with spotlights. It comes from living with intention, moving with discipline, and building without waiting for applause. Society fears her not because she's loud, but because she's solid. Not because she demands attention, but because she commands respect without ever chasing it. Her independence confuses people. Her focus unsettles them. Her ability to grow in silence, to thrive without permission, shakes every system that relies on control. But here's what you need to remember. If you're that woman or becoming her, you don't need to tone it down. You don't need to make yourself easier to understand. You are not here to be less. You are here to rise. They might label you, question you, even try to pull you back. Let them. That's often what happens when people don't know how to handle something rare. But don't shrink to make them feel safe. Don't soften what makes you sharp. Keep building. Keep becoming. Let your discipline speak. Let your silence teach. Let your actions remind the world that real power never needs to perform. You were never too much. You were just never meant to be ordinary. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching and God bless.